all the way.
One day, until that.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. We are in no, we're not in the lab. We're in the Bat Cave again. We're in the Bat Cave here for Our Black Media, and this is Ron Tell That, Jamal Teray, and we got special guests. And we see all our shows. We always have special guests on all our shows, and this is a part two. This is a part two. This is a repeater right here with regards to taking to another level. Cause 2 weeks ago we had some folks on. We had Jen on. Jen is back with us. And our sister right there. Then we had our brother right there, Josiah Jazz Watts. We had them all from 100 miles. And so we had said, because the conversation we were having was pertinent to us. And so it was like kind of, we had the general conversation. But what we're going to do, because we said we know we got to bring it home on some of the stuff. And we still got some other things we got to bring it home on. And so we say to all of y'all, share, 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 share. We are on Facebook and also on YouTube, Our Black Media. You can go to the channels. We say thank you everyone who's checking out the show. And so we got two special guests. Again, all our guests are special. We got coming out of Chatham County. We got Mrs. Joanne Wilson Myers. She's right here with us. Glad to have you here, Ms. Myers, Ms. Joanne. Glad to have you with us on Run Tell That.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We're going to see really at the very end of the show if you are appreciative. And so, well, it'll be a simple question. And then we got our brother from the other side, again, from the western part of the county. We got our brother, Tony Johnson, who's making things happen in the western part of Chatham County. And so, Brother Tony, glad to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so glad to be here, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so, as Jazz and also Jen are aware, we do something on our show because we want the people who are checking out the show to know who you are. So, Ms. Joanne, the question I thought to everybody, who are you?
I am a long-time resident of Savannah, Georgia. Born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. I've traveled out of Georgia, but Savannah has always been my home. And I am a lifetime Wolverine, Tompkins Wolverine. And I know there are plenty of them out there that are looking. Yes, a Wolverine. I am. Lifetime. For life. And I'm retired. I'm retired, but I do I'm still licensed as a nurse, but I am retired, but I do take some jobs on occasion, when the finances, come about. But I'm just glad to be here. Like I say, I'm a longtime resident of Savannah, Georgia. And Buckhalter Road is my home. That's my heartstring. That's my heartbeat. For over 100 years, it's been in my family. And I'm proud to stand and be proud to say that I belong on Buckhalter Road.
Miss Joanne, I'm gonna let you know you took out all of my heartstrings for a second. I'm gonna let you know I had died. I didn't expect you to come out like that. You had said some things that I watched you had not been appreciative. You just took it on out. And so now, Brother Tony, we're gonna move on to you, Brother Tony. Who are you?
Hey, I'm just the average brother, also from Chatham County, born and raised in Monty, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? That's in the it was Chatham County, then it was made into Portland Worth. You know, small black community. I'm just a small town, you know what I'm saying? Brother who just care about his people. And you know what, I'm proud to be here to get the story out or whatever I can do to help my people, man, and basically just connect with more people who care. You know, I'm a truck driver. I get on the road. I work like 10 to 12 hours a day. I come home, you know, basically just a simple life. You know, I'm just a simple man living a simple life to care about his family. You know, that's it.
And that's powerful. We appreciate that. We appreciate the work that you're doing.
Yes,
and so now,
yeah.
One of the things we got to do, and Reverend Betty Jones, glad to have you on us. Reverend Betty Jones, one of our great supporters. And we said, everyone checking out the show, we say share, share, share. And so we got to do this. This is how we do it, because you know in our community is what we do. So, Tony, this is what we got to do. Who are your people? Who are your people?
My people is Monty. We go way back. We go way back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, man. You know, my family is a strong family up there, man. Born and raised off the land. You know, we usually say sometimes it could be the first 40 acres and a mule. You know, that's history up there, man. We grew up the farmland, man. We used to grow our own food. You know, we did the whole country life. You know, I got the best of both worlds up there, you know, and, you know, that what made me with the strong roots I have now in family, you know, and basically in this day and time, you got to have those morals that you grew up on. So, you know, so that's me to the fullest, man. I got, you know, strong work ethics. My granddaddy used to have me out there in the woods, man. That's back when we had a wood furnace. We had to go chop down trees, get wood, bring it back, stack the wood, chop it, get it small enough to put into the wood box, to put in doing all that, going fishing, man, chasing chickens, getting eggs, all that, brother. So, you know, I'm country raised, but, you know, just a down-to-earth brother.
All right, and that's what it's about. Because again, you know, I think we ask who your people are, so that's for us to connect. And so that we're on the audience that you checking out you all and then connecting with you. And so, Ms. Joanne, we want to ask you same thing. Who are your people?
My people, Buckhalter Road. It's a 3-mile road that's hidden so well that when you ride down that road, you wouldn't believe that you were in the city of Savannah. You would think that you were out west in the country somewhere. It's a beautiful road. I've been there all my life. It dates back to the 1800s. I am one of I think I'm the 6th generation. Like Brother Tony said, my grandfather and my father, they grew our food. We didn't go to the grocery store and shop like we do now. We ate from the land. And who I am and my people are people that we don't forget where we came from. That's the main thing. You can't forget where you came from, because if you did, you would know where you're going. And yes,
right.
We raised in the country. I was a country girl. We didn't have inside bathrooms. Yes, we didn't have inside bathrooms. I pumped water. I chopped wood, carried wood, fed the chickens, fed the pigs. I did it all. My father, he had 5 girls. He was outnumbered in our household. So, he was kind of like, okay, yes, whatever you ladies say, that's what we'll do. But he was a stern father. He was a stern father, and he believed in strong family ethics. And that's what carries us through today, our strong family ethics. Don't leave no stone unturned. Figure it out. Don't let anybody tell you. You look for yourself to find out what you need to know. Those are my people.
All right.
Buckhalter Road.
So I'm gonna throw this out here to you. We're just going real quick because we're gonna be jumping into this right here. Because part of when we say who your people, it's like, what are your family names? Because see, that somebody checking out the show, they're like, oh, that's Lula Bell Grand right there. Oh, and see, that's what happens. So now when they know that's Lula Bell Grand, they know the words that you're saying. Bam, they need to be right there on it. So again, who are your family? What is your family names?
My family name was the Wilson family on Buckhalter Road, the Simmons on Buckhalter Road, the Clarks on Buckhalter Road, the members of Oakland Missionary Baptist Church, who will be 227 years this year in October. Those are my people. Oakland Missionary Baptist Church. If anybody don't know about Oakland Missionary Baptist Church, now they do. We've been there 227 years, and it started out with slaves. My family came from slaves that worked the land on the Oakland plantation on Buckhalter Road. So those who know the Wilsons off of Buckhalter Road, Canebrake Road, Burris, they know who I am now.
And that's it exactly. And so now, Brother Tony, who your family? What's your family names? Because again, that's what when people now start connected. Because someone hear it, they be like, "Wait a minute, Burroughs." They be like, "Wait a minute, I know such and so and so so." I went to school with so and so and so and so. So who your family? What them family names are you, Brother Tony?
Hey man, up there in Monty, it starts out with the Fergusons. You got the Fergusons. My grandfather, great grandfather Ferguson. You got the Whites, you got the Smarts, you got the Johnsons, you got the Stewarts, you got the Hearst. The Hearst is another big name up there. And basically Mount Moriah Church, been organized in 1893. And you also got White Oak Church. That was organized around the same time. You got the Hicks. I mean, all of them, my people. We all went to Groves High School. And the people before me went to Tompkins. I don't know how many people went to Tompkins, but yeah, when Tompkins was a high school back then.
That's right.
And them all my people. Strong fed people, strong people that raised me the right way and try to do the things the right way. That's why I'm here, yes. And the Williams. You can't forget the Williams.
Mr. Producer, I'm gonna have to get rid of Tony and Miss Joanne. I'm gonna have to get rid of them because they just gone just do what they want to do. They saying the wrong stuff. But anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to this right here. Jazz, we're gonna hit you with this first. And the question is what I thought to you. When you hear logistics, what does that mean to you? When you hear logistics, what does that mean to you? Logistics.
Well, when I first hear logistics, I think about how things fit into certain places, in certain spaces. I think about, logistics, plans. But more recently, in our conversations, what I understand now, logistics seems like it means we're about to place some things in your communities that will detrimentally impact not only your land, but also your legacy, also your history, also your ownership, all those things. That's what I think of now when I hear the word logistics. I think of the port, logistics. Well, we're here to produce things for you, but what they're not telling you is what's going to happen around you, what's going to happen to the space that you occupy, the spaces that you live in, how it's going to detrimentally impact the environment around you when they're clearing out the trees and affecting your waterways and affecting, your air quality and all those things. Now that's what I think about when I hear logistics.
All right. As to David Banner and to Fahim and to Junior and to Jenny, we are glad to have you all checking out the show. We got 248 people looking at the show right now. And so again, we're glad to have all y'all join us and supporting Our Black Media and Run Tell That. So Jen, I'm gonna throw this out to you. Again, it's still tied to logistics. How do we see logistics today? How do we see logistics today? What is a physical manifestation of logistics, Jen?
Distribution centers and warehouses destroying your community, in your backyard, your front yard. If it's not in your neighborhood, it's in the neighborhood next to you. We are seeing a drastic change and shift of landscapes, shift of water, shift of community by these warehouses. And that's what it means to me is horror.
All right. And again, we threw it out again because as you all know, Jen and Josiah, both from 100 Miles, because they've been on the show, as we say 2 weeks ago, and a part of the conversation we were having, that when people hear logistics, because that was something that was sold to us, that we need to be involved in logistics. And so all of us thinking that was a way for us to get money, to make money. That was a part of the economic engine for us. And we understand we have always been involved in it, but they came with a fancy name, logistics. But now there's an element that we share with folks that when you hear logistics, you now have a physical manifestation of it also. And so now, Ms. Joanne, I want to ask you the question. How have you been being impacted by warehouses or distribution centers and what got tied to logistics? How your community, how are you all being impacted?
We're being attacked in all directions. We don't have the deep pockets that are making this happen. But we're being pushed. We're being boxed in. Buckhalter Road right now is one of the prime properties in Chatham County because of the proximity of Veterans Parkway, 95, 16. We have railroad tracks that run on both sides of Veteran Parkway that can have access to those warehouses that have already been built and in the process of being built. And our community is being bamboozled. That's the word, bamboozled. We have been bamboozled for the past year. A lot of this information that we're hearing about, we're just hearing about in the past 3 to 6 months. It's a well-kept secret for some reason. And we're just hearing about it within the past 6 months. And we have people who've been on that road, like I said, for that, the land has been in the family for over 100 years. And where it's located, they don't care about us. All they care about is progress with the warehouses, the trucks, what they carry, the containers, the railroad tracks that come in and out, what is being dumped on the ground, that's soaked in the ground, that goes into our wells. We don't know what's being done because we have been bamboozled for the past 2 years, maybe longer. But Buckhalter Road is the prime piece of land right now in Chatham County, and they want it. They start off with 10 parcels. You get those 10 parcels, then they'll go to the next 20 parcels. And once they get that, they'll just keep going till there won't be a Buckhalter Road anymore. It won't be as beautiful as it is now. It's a beautiful piece of land that Savannah has just, some people have forgotten it, but some people have just found out that we can make some money there. And we're going to make some money there. They can't give the people who live there the money, enough money to compensate for what they have right now. There's not enough money that they could give me or my family members for that 5.5 acres that we have in our family. And we still live there. We still live there. That's the main thing. But they don't have that compassion, you know. They wouldn't live there if a warehouse was built as close as it's being built today. And like I said, we're being boxed in slowly but surely. We're being boxed in. And before you know it, Buckhalter Road will no longer be. But we have to fight. We have to stand up. We have to make our councilmen and commissioners understand that the almighty dollar is not the last. And that's what our community we've organized. Don't Box Us In, Buckhalter Road, and it extends from Garrard Avenue all the way to Ogeechee Road. And we're taking a stand. Even if we don't win, we want people to know what's being done in Chatham County. Because Georgia Port right now is strong. But don't take from us what we had for years, for generations. Don't take from us. Don't take from us.
And Ms. Myers,
don't take from us.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Myers, we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting into this conversation because just like you said, Buckhalter, guess what? And just Reverend Betty Jones put it out there. All of our neighborhoods, all of our communities are valuable. And I'll share something with you that guess what? It is not about progress. What I had told people that this is about profits over people. This is about profits over people. And so the story that you're saying, guess what? And that's why we got you all on here, because what we have shared, talking with Jen, talking with Josiah, talking with Jazz, what I have put out to folks say that this story is not just a Chatham County story, not just a Buckhalter story. It is not just a story. It is a story of Camden County to Chatham County and all of our communities. But guess what they have done? Just like you said, Reverend Betty Jones put it out there. They don't talk to the people. They don't talk to the citizens, the residents. So you don't know. So when they come at you, you think that you're in it by yourself. No, that's why we want everybody looking at the show right now to know what we have been doing, how we've always been doing it. Yo, we tell folks, no, we believe in collaborating and coming together. And so that's why, Brother Tony, I want you now to go and talk about, because see, you're involved in an element of logistics, but you're also a resident. You're also a community leader. And what is happening over in Monty? What's the pressures going on? Because again, and when you had said about the bamboozle, Ms. Joanne, I'm seeing right here like, and it is going on today and on yesterday. People being bamboozled in one part of the city, and then in the other part of the city. Well, I'm gonna be frank with you. I'm gonna let Tony go ahead. Here it is. You got people trying to save property in Yamacraw, but they're trying to sell out Monty. And so, yes, that's the segue to Brother Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
That's right, y'all. So with that being said, you know, it's hard to trust people. You don't know who to trust, you know, and basically these developers, they come in and, you know, they come in with a scare tactic, try to tell the people, well, you can't stop what's happening. It's development. That's part of the American way. And, you know, and I'm like, well, I thought one of the American ways was family, like history. I mean, so I'm like, that's important too. You know, like Ms. Joanne said, like our land been up there over hundreds and hundreds of years. And man, from my great grandfathers down to my grandmother, down to my uncles and like that, we passed the land down from generation to generation. So basically what they do when they come in, they try to divide the people. And most of my people are older. You're talking about people in their late 70s, late 60s, you know, that don't really understand how to fight these people back. So basically, they come in and scare them and basically and then they just leave them no choice and then try to sell them with, well, we can give you this much for the land. And it's just a pipe dream, you know, and while they're doing that, you know what I'm saying? They'll tell one person this, They go to each house by house by house, and tell somebody a dream. And then next thing you know, the whole family divided. And that's where we at in Monty right now, a divided family. Trying, like, you got half of the people like, well, I do want a newer house. I want this. They say they can give me this amount. And I'm like, people, we got to come together no matter what. Don't let them divide us. They trying to divide and conquer. That land right there is in a marquee area. I mean, you talking about 95 and 21 runs right through, and Monty sits dead in the middle of it. You got trucks and everything run right through there. That is a prime place that they're shooting for. And so I'm like, well, like Ms. Joanne said, like, and you said, Mr. Jamal, they putting profit over people. They don't come into the neighborhood and talk to you unless they want something from you. Or before, it's like, you know, we go through the city, open word, try to talk to the people. Hey, can you clean our ditches? Can you help us get out, you know, make our property, keep our properties up and things like that, pipelines and things like that. But they just overlook us, and then they try to take the historical value from our neighborhoods. I remember we used to have like signs like Monty. They don't even have that. If you ride on the 95 coming off of 21 going southbound, you don't even see the Monty sign up there anymore. It used to say Monty Mount. That's gone. They took down the guy with the cotton gin. They used to have a historical memorial on the side over there before you go to the end market over there. That's gone. And they was doing this since like the early mid 80s when they start stripping us of our history. And then, you know, I'm like, wow, we got a lot of historical value over there. That don't mean anything, but it's like, you know, I was told it's not Portland Worth history. But I'm like, that history there, that's American history. I mean, that's historical facts and a lot of major things that happen up there that's being stripped away from our people. So I think we should be acknowledged for that, you know, and and it's so funny, man. And no matter how much you talk about it and bring it up to them, they always go and try to come up with these plans that and rules that you don't know nothing about. It's always a new rule, and it's always this, and it's like they can do this, and it's legal. I'm like, wow, you know, and people, you know, and they make illegal legal. And that's what I'm noticing a lot these days. They make a lot of things illegal legal. And I'm like, how can you fight these people? And we feel like we're being bullied. We feel like we're being bullied, and we don't know who to turn to. And, you know, and this platform right here is providing, like, you know, you think you're in it alone. But you hearing that, Miss Joanne, a situation is like, it's similar to ours. And, you know, and it's like, man, we need to come together. They trying to divide us and trying to make it seem like you're all alone, you know? So we're not alone. We come together. I think we can and stay consistent at let them know, hey, no, we want to keep our land. We value our land, and we want our land to be around years and years to come, because there's value in that alone. And, you know, it's not, you don't have enough money to give us to take our land. You can offer us $100 million. No, it's not worth it. We want our land, you know, because basically you had families growing up there. We accomplished a lot. So it's like by taking that land from us, it's like a slap in our ancestors' face. You know, I got plenty more to say, but I'm gonna yield right there. But that's what it's like, a slap in our face right now. How these developers coming in and just taking over our land, and it's like, you know, yeah, we can move you here and you can start over and you can have this. No, the values in the land, the values in the people there, not new things and starting over. You talking about 80-year-old people, 70-year-olds. How are they gonna start over? And that's all they know.
That's right.
But I yield with that.
Okay. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a commercial break. We'll be right back, and then we're gonna go into some things. And both of you said some things tied to history. And it is again fitting how we have this camera set up right now. with regards to all you. Again, we say check out the commercials. We're coming right back to run tell that. And we again have our people from 100 Miles and people out of Burkhalter and Burroughs, and then also out of Monty. Again, we're going to a commercial right now. This is Run Tell That, and we say share, share, share. We are back. Run Tell That. And we have Ms. Joanne out of the Burkhalter community. Brother Tony is in the audio side, but he'll be back in. He'll be see the visual of him if he's back. And you got Jen from 100 Miles and Jazz from 100 Miles. So now I'm telling you all, now some of y'all heard something, and that's when you heard about the Burroughs community. Those you in Chatham County, people now, y'all been around me when I've done presentations. I've done the African Spirit has come and said some things, and I asked the question of who was the first black mayor in Chatham County, one of the first black mayors in Chatham County, and people go and say Floyd Adams. And the Spirit, I go and say no. Then they go and say, well, Otis Johnson. I said no. Then I go and say Cyrus G. Wiley at a place called Industrial College, Georgia, that you now know as Savannah State University, because Savannah State once was a town and they had a mayor, and it was the students at Savannah State who were the mayors, and the council members were made of the students. Because Major Richard R. Wright, the first president of Savannah State, understood that. So I throw that out there to him. So that's it right there, Industrial College, Georgia. But then I hit him with, I said, J.C. Legree, Joshua C. Legree. Joshua C. Legree was in a place called Burroughs. The Burroughs community, that they will elect mayors in the 1800s. So in the 1800s, you got 1800s, and what we know is basically as Thunderbolt right now, but also in the Burroughs community, that's also. Now, again, y'all, some of y'all probably saying, well, what's up with all that, Jamal? They're like, ooh, because you see where Jazz is at, and you see where Ms. Myers is at. Guess what? J.C. Legree is one of the people, because they have formed an alliance, an association of African farmers, a farmers alliance, that now in a political organization throughout the entire state of Georgia, made up of African people who work in the agriculture here. They create a political system for themselves to elect people to government, to offices here, but then also creating a union. And so guess what happened? J.C. Legree out the Burroughs community and that organization that they have formed that's now throughout the entire state of Georgia, that when you go to Sapelo, where Jazz is from, the Farmers Alliance building on Sapelo, where they have the celebration for sidecars that some of y'all know about, that's the last remaining vestige of that legacy tied to the Burroughs community. Whoa! Wow. That's why we do what we do. That's why when you talk about history, that's why I always make sure I give people history, because they don't know it. That's why when Tony said what he said about the land right here, when we talk about 40 acres and a mule, that's a part of the legacy. That is one of the oldest pieces of land owned by us. When we talk about General Sherman, and it really wasn't Sherman, it was Reverend Garrison Frazier. That's why we're going to see land ownership. And today, you see people not coming at them, trying to pick them off. And that's why people hear me constantly. Jazz has been around me for some 2 decades now, and my thing's always been, it ain't one place, it's all of us. And that now, as you picked up on Ms. Myers and also Brother Johnson, everybody picked up. I keep trying to tell people, this ain't no one battle, this is all of us in this together. And so Jen, you have done some traveling, and we're going to Chatham County, right? We're going to stick on Chatham County. We're going to be focused on Chatham County. What have been some of the things that you picked up in parts of Chatham County with regards to, because Tony was saying some of this right here, and I was like, this is kind of some of the things that Jen and I had conversations, and Jazz had conversations about. So what you want to throw out there, Jen, with regards to this?
Well, I think with regards to history, I mean, we're looking at it from this industrial sort of takeover, this gold rush that's happening, but really there's a lot of history to it. I mean, when you hear both Mr. Tony and Ms. Joanne talk about, you know, these corridors that they're next to, right? The transportation corridors have already been built into these communities. So that was already a taking. That was already a taking of property, a taking of space, a division of the community. So it's no surprise that the next wave just goes along those transportation corridors. So it's not a surprise in that context, right? They've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. But one of the things I really want to throw out there when we're talking about this concrete versus community, really what it is, when we're talking about people making money, there's very little money being made for the communities, right? For Chatham County, for Port Wentworth. We have development authorities bringing these warehouses in and negotiating away most of those taxes for 10, 15, 20 years. Those are taxes that are not being paid, right? So you're already struggling with infrastructure pieces that haven't been built, with all of these things that now we're dealing with climate and stormwater and sea level rise and all of these different things. But the question is really, you know, this very small handful of people that are making money, and what is the actual economic need? So looking over what the port says is their need in square footage for warehouses. Just last year, they said we needed an additional, I think it was 100 million square feet. Nope, sorry, 70 million square feet, I believe. And I think we've accomplished that in the last year, not just in Chatham County, but we're also talking about Effingham County and Bryan County and Liberty County. And there's also this state north of us called South Carolina, and they're doing the same thing up there. So we have this history of displacement, of property stealing, of eminent domain that just seems to be continuing. And we live in a time where we're smarter than that. We can plan better than that. We know ways, mechanisms, tools to plan and make this better. So everybody might have to have somewhat next to them a little bit of this industrial growth and spread it around for economic development. But nobody should be suffering what I'm seeing across the board in all of these different communities. I mean, these warehouses are backed up to people's backyards, to their playgrounds, basketball fields. What they used to see were woods and forests, and now all they see is a warehouse. And these aren't little warehouses. Anybody who's listening who hasn't actually seen these up in the Chatham County and Effingham County area, these are not small. Most of them have an average of 200 to 300 berths in them, so 200 to 300 trucks per warehouse. It's not one warehouse at a time. It's these big, as you call them, logistics, distribution centers that have 5 or 6 of these mega warehouses. I've seen one warehouse that had, I think it was 600 berths. That's 600 trucks that can be coming in and out through the neighborhoods, right? Yes, they're close to 95, they're close to 80, they're close to all of these roads, but you still have to come through a neighborhood or around a neighborhood or next to a neighborhood. So this is just a repeat of the same old history, right? It's just a repeat. It's a new version of the same history of taking.
And you heard what she said, 600. Can you imagine 600 vehicles? I'm just going to throw out there. You got 300 that comes through Burkhalter and also say through Monty, or through the west side of the city of Savannah, or through Garden City. Because guess what? See, now that some of y'all, that's why I say this is not just one part. This is a Savannah issue, Garden City issue, Monty, Port Wentworth issue, and Bloomingdale issue, just in Chatham County alone. Chatham County alone, and then we throw in the unincorporated parts of Chatham County. That this is an issue that's going. And can you imagine? And quality of life. And then Ms. Joanne went and talked about, again, we had shared this in April when Jazz had me come up to a conference at Georgia Climate Conference, and I had told people, because they had thought about it, the environmental issues from having the warehouses. See, again, that's why I said we have to be the ones to articulate, and that's why we have Our Black Media, for us to go and put it out there. And so, Jazz, we've gotten to some of this. You heard from Ms. Joanne, you heard from Brother Tony, you heard from Jen. So what's your thoughts with regards to this, and what must we be doing?
Well, my thoughts with regards to this is, first and foremost, is just thinking about the negative and detrimental impacts to community, to family, to legacy, to history, to land, to quality of life. You know, when I, first saw the warehouses was off of Henley Road coming into Monteith. I mean, this gigantic, just immense. And to know that there are 3 of these things sitting out in that space, or is it 4, maybe more, and that they are surrounded by these things. To think about that, to think about if I was we're on Sapelo or talking about St. Simons or talking about, Brookman or Buck Swamp somewhere out in Glenn County, to walk out of my door or to drive out of my community to see that we are surrounded by these gigantic, huge structures that are taking away parts of our quality of life. And we need to understand, just like you said before, when we talk about Gullah Geechee communities, and people look, I'm descended from Sapelo and from St. Simons, but people always say, well, that last Gullah Geechee community is Sapelo. No, it's not. It's not. That causes erasure of all these other communities. And we need to think about all the other Geechee communities, the Geechee communities that are on the mainland, which outnumber us, but we are all being impacted by the same exact things. And I think about that division, how they, go at the city of Port Wentworth first, go up Monteith, and then they just kind of split it up. Now they go to Burkhalter, now they go to all these different places off of Highway 80, then they go to Liberty, then they go to these other places, and how these strategically separating us so that it makes it difficult for us to fight together, which is what we have to do, because we need to be the ones to dictate what is in our communities, what is in our spaces, because it is impacting us. These things will be sitting here a decade from now, empty, barren, or whatever, and we will still be feeling the negative impacts of them. So it is so imperative. And I you and I talk all the time, Brother Jamal, about how the alarm was sounded a decade ago. The alarm was sounded years ago. The alarm was sounded before there was a moratorium in the city of Port Wentworth. And we need to recognize that and come together and face these challenges, because they got a long 20, 30-year plan. They've been planning this a long time. They've been planning how to divide us. They've been planning how to separate communities. So I'm encouraged by, being on this call on Run Tell That with my brother Tony and with, Miss Joanne and also my colleague Jen. I am encouraged by that, and that you have us all on here so that we can talk to everyone and say there is something that each of us can do. We got city council people, we got public officials. Find out who those people are and start talking to them, start calling them, in these spaces where these warehouses are, and talking about where they're talking about planning for them to go. So there are things that each of us can do. There is something that we all can do. And that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, well, what are the next steps that we need to take? Thank you.
You gonna say something else, Jazz?
No, I'm good.
All right. Hey, and that's what we're going to be getting into in this next segment, this next part. We're going to go to another commercial. We're going to come back with regards to, again, the conversation. But something I just threw out there real quick. Ellis has said that Ellis threw it out there and said that, isn't that a part of growing a dying city? But guess what? We're not dying here. That's the thing. We're not dying here. We see hotels going up all over the place. The Georgia port is $1 billion industry, not just for the state of Georgia, but for the entire United States. So this is not a dying area here. Maybe for some others, they might try to talk about that, but guess what? Here, that's not the case. But then guess what? You are trying to kill a culture. You're trying to kill a community. You're trying to kill communities. And that's our work we're doing right now. So we're going to go to a commercial and come back and then have a conversation with you all about how can people reach out to you all and get in touch with you all. Run Tell That in the house. And we have Josiah Jazz Watts. We have Tony Johnson out of Monty. We have Ms. Joanne Wilson Myers, who are out of Burkholder to the Burroughs community. We got Sister Jen from 100 Miles. And so we are back right now. And what we want to know, and that is the audience, we want to know, how can we support you all in the efforts, and what are some of the upcoming things that you all have? Because we know that there are NPC meetings that are going on. We know that there'll be commission meetings going on, that there'll be city council meetings going on. How can we support you? What's the contact information for us? You now go and address some of this right here. Because again, so we now go to Ms. Joanne. How can people get in touch, support the efforts, contact information, anything like that with regards to this?
Well, right now we have a website, Don't Box Buckhalter Road Inn. You can always reach us there. You can always also reach us at Laura Mackey at the Mackey House at Redgate Farms. That's where we hold our meetings at. They have been gracious enough to open up their doors for the community to come and meet and discuss some type of strategy of what we can do, what we can say. We're having a council meeting coming up sometime this month. I'm not sure of exactly the date, that it will be taken to the city council to decide on to rezone Buckhalter Road or not rezone Buckhalter Road to light industry. And if it's passed by the city, and the county has nothing, no vote whatsoever with this, it's the city only. And if they pass this, that means that more warehouses will show up on Buckhalter Road. They're saying that they won't cross a certain point, but those are just words that, in the air. We don't see anything in writing. We had an NPC meeting last month in July, and it was one of the most disappointing meetings I've ever been to. It was already discussed and voted on, and what we had to say was it didn't matter. They cut out time for our, opinions and how we felt. They cut our time to almost a minute, but the developers, they were given their full 20 minutes, but we were only given a minute and a half, and some less than that. So right now, like I said, we have our website, Don't Box Buckhalter Road Inn, and you can also reach Laura Mackey at the Mackey House at Redgate Farm. And even though we're discussing Buckhalter Road, that's just the start. It can go across Ageechee Road. It can go across Dean Forest Road. It can move wherever they want to go. But we have to come together as a community, not just the Buckhalter Road and Garrard Avenue area, but all of the communities in that area are going to be affected because of, like the young man said, the railroads, the interstates. All of that is so close together, and the deep pockets, they are hard to fight, but we're willing to fight. We're willing to fight for what we have and we've had for so long, and we don't want to give it up at all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And this fight has actually been going on for a long time, but people try not to listen to certain folks, and particularly African Americans. And so I've told folks, y'all know across the board, I say African Americans have been leading the charge with regard to this, and we've been saying it. But what happened, you try to marginalize us. I said this at the NPC meeting, try to marginalize us and try to make sure our voice is not heard. But what happened, I told folks, I said, Caucasians got to listen to us, because when they listen to us, because we're sounding the alarm, we are the bellwether for these issues. We are sounding the alarm. We are the thermometer for it. And see, when you ignore us, guess what happens? Bam, it comes right on your backyard. And then you start thinking like it's brand new. Like, no, it's not. It's not brand new. And so, Brother Tony, how can people support the effort? How can people get in touch with you? Because you are the president and executive director of the organization. How can people get in touch with you? And what do you see on the horizon with regards to any other work being done?
Yes, you can. We have a nonprofit website, NHN Union. You can look that up at nhnunion1 at gmail.com. You can just put that in. You can go there. They have a donate tab. You can donate if you want to donate to the cause. You can reach me personally on my phone, my cell, 912-604-7932. I also have another email, my personal email. You can reach me at t.passio244 at gmail.com. Either way is good. Or you can come out to the farm, Promised Land Farm. I wanted to give a shout out to Promised Land Farm. Yeah, you can come out there and come into the community, and you'll see some of us out there. You can just talk to us out there, right off Monte Road. But basically, what we're trying to do, we're just trying to get everybody incremented to get ready for this fight. Get everybody back together, divided. Because with that big scare coming in from the warehouses, everybody's like coming up with their own plan. But I got with Randy Quarterman and Sarah Eisner and their organization, and they're helping us and they're backing us to try to keep the people together and let them know that we got their support on the reparation projects and from the reparation projects. So what we're doing is we're setting up community meetings, like I said, getting everybody together, trying to come up with a plan, a master plan to okay, we all stick to this right here. Don't believe the hype. Don't let them scare you. Don't let these tactics move you off from your land. This is yours. We got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. So basically, we just trying to motivate everybody, step up the younger generation. I'm trying to motivate the younger generation to step up for the matriarchs and the patriots that done this before us. Don't let their work be in vain. So basically, it's like a political battle cry to all the communities and all the households in Monte. So basically, it's just talking and getting people the information and let them know what can and cannot happen. So basically, we just we meet up to Mount Moriah Church. Sometimes we meet to the Promised Land Farm, and we have the discussions, and we raise the alarm to people. So basically, that's where it starts at, getting the information out. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Reverend Betty Jones said she was thankful for the platform that we have through Our Black Media. That's what we do. We get the information out and share it, folks, so people know. And then also hearing from groups of people that sometimes they try to ignore, but that's why we remain right there to tell them, oh, we've been talking about this right here, but you didn't listen to us. So you're going to finally need to learn to listen to us with regards to some of this right here. And so we're going to be winding it down. So we're going to come to 100 miles. And so we're going to give y'all 2 minutes each to discuss Jen, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I'm in a public meeting.
Well, see, I was going to say this because y'all know, we got company with us right now, but since I let the family business out. So Ms. Joanne and also to Brother Tony, Tell That is the little brother show of all the Our Black Media shows. Everybody else got 5 hours. They can do marathons. They do telethons on their shows. But we have only 57 minutes. And guess what? It's because of our producer who's from Tompkins High School. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Miss Joanne, you see that? Oh my God. So we got 2 minutes. So Jazz, what are the things that you think that people need to know, and how can people get in touch with you? Because again, we know folks are listening because remember Betty Jones was out there. Charlie Brown. What is going on? Mr. Producer, you see the rabble people trying to come on my show. Mr. Producer, take care. See what I told y'all? Mr. Producer. But go ahead, share.
Well, Yes, my brother. First of all, I want to say I appreciate you having us on this platform as usual. And, you know, if anything, you say how to reach me is at 100 Mile, Josiah, Josiah, at 100miles.org. And that's written out, Josiah at 100miles.org. My number is 404-200-5416, and it's 404-200-5416. You know, please, you know, feel free to reach out to me. Jen Hilborn, of course, is in Savannah and on the North Coast. So she's a primary contact, but I'll just say, you know, somebody was, I saw in the chat where somebody was talking about development and Monteith was a dying city, but, you know, this is about communities having the right to choose what their futures look like, to choose what their destinies look like, to choose what their legacy should look like. Communities should have a choice. Communities shouldn't have to fight their own NPCs and their own local officials to say and to decide what their future should look like. And that's what's happening here with these warehouses and all this development and everything else is they're not getting to choose. And we should all get that right. We should all get that right. So please feel free to reach out to us. We are involved in this. We are advocating, but we are supporting communities. We are learning. We want to hear how we can help. We want to hear how we can support you. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for being on this platform. Thank you, Ms. Joanne. Thank you, Tony. This has been wonderful. I'll pass it off to my colleague, Jen.
Thanks, Jazz. Likewise, thank you all for the opportunity to be on this platform. We have been navigating through some communities and others we haven't heard from yet that are going through this, but we are starting to become more connected. We are starting to understand how many communities are being hit, and we're collecting the data side of that so that we can express this. But it's a complicated process. The MPC, the meeting, Ms. Myers was talking about 7 hours of watching people being dismissed while our leaders don't even know what the process is. So please give us a call. My number is 912-441-3908. We can see what we can do to help you understand the process. The one thing I definitely want to share is get out there, talk to your neighbors. Tony brought it up, and I'm seeing it in a lot of communities. Communities are literally being divided, and I don't think that's unintentional. I think that's a very conscious thing. One neighbor's hearing one thing, one neighbor's hearing another. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your community, get out there, be talking about it to everybody. Share this, share, run, tell that, share everything. We have to come together. Look on Facebook. There's groups called Stop the Warehouses in Effingham. There's groups Don't Box Buckhalter In. There are Facebook groups, there are groups, but just keep this conversation going. We are happy to help you in the ways that we can. Thank you so much.
And you said a mouthful. It is so frightening that they got people, they're telling folks that you can sell your land, you can get $10 million for your land. All it says your community over here that all y'all sell your property and we rezone it. All y'all get, you get $10 million, y'all can divide up and y'all can then go. It is so frightening, and people are buying into it, and it's like a smoke screen. And then these people will get nothing. They will not get anything close, and they will not be able to buy anything here in Chatham County, and then struggle to try to find something in any other county. But they're giving up their legacy. They give that legacy, Ms. Myers, from Burroughs and Burkhalter. Tony, they've given up that legacy of Monty. They've given up those legacies and can't be replaced anymore. And so that's a part of the trauma that happens. And so, like we say, we're going to have more than one segment with regard to this. But there's something that is happening now. There's something that you can't fight back. All the citizens, and Reverend Betty Jones said, we don't give up. And it's not about Port Woodward being a sundown town. That's not anything. That's not what it's about. It's about the state of Georgia wanting certain things, and people run with it. And they're not developers. They're destructioneers. And so what the deal is, what can you do? It's an election year, this year and next year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
But you get the opportunity to vote and vote people out of office if they don't listen to the people. Which means that they can then change some of the people that are on some of these boards and commissions who are not listening to the people, who shun the people. That's why voting is important. Voting matters. Voting is extremely important. So we say, remember in November here on Our Black Media. And so guess what? In November next year and the spring of next year, you're going to have the opportunity to vote too. And you will remember those people who provided no support. So to the audience, guess what? Contact again, Jen, Jazz, Tony, Ms. Joanne, contact them, their entities, their organizations, so you can do something with them right now. But also remember to vote.
Yes.
We're going to close out. It's been a little disrespectful. Early on, unexpectedly. It was unexpected because y'all know how Run Tell that is. Because again, things, we go with the flow. But I'm going to hope they redeem themselves right now. I'm going to start with Jen. Jen, I'm going to start with you because you seem the only one that seem to be decent and in order. Jen, the question is...
My decency is out the window. My niece just started Jenkins this year. However, on the last show, I gave props to Jenkins, so I'm going to have to pull back this time. My other niece is going to kill me if I don't represent for her, and she's at Savannah Arts.
See, our show, it's not scripted. Jen, great when you had talked about HBJ, the best high school in all of Chatham County and the entire country. So, Jan, I'm going to move on to you. Redeem yourself. What is the best high school in the entire United States?
Brother, I got you. You know that is Glenn Academy Terrorism, brother, Georgia. I got you. But that Jenkins could be second, but right behind,
Wow. The treachery just continues. Okay. I'm going to hope that Ms. Joanne will redeem herself. So I'm going to ask the question of you. What is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia?
Sophronia Tompkins High School, the Wolverines. I repeat, the Wolverines. And I want to give a shout out to Savannah Morning News, WJCL TV. They're going to do an article. Savannah Morning News did an article. WJCL is doing an interview. And we got a full page right up in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on July the 29th of last month. A full page. So if you can find that article, it really, really tells a lot of what's going on in Chatham County, not just Buckhalter Road. Go Wolverines.
See. Next time we're gonna be muting your mic, Ms. Joanne. We're gonna be muting your mic. I'm gonna have to get the mic button. I'm gonna mute you. Oh Lord. So Tony, you're the last hope. You are the last hope. You are the great hope. You are the last great hope. So Tony, my brother, what is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia?
I got you, Jamal. I got you, brother. I got you. You represent it right now. Look at the colors you got on. Look at them colors.
Oh!
The black and gold. Yes, sir. Come on. Them Grove Rebels. Baby. Class of 93. That's me.
You can't see me.
You represent it. We saw you though. That black and gold, baby. That black and gold all the way. Go Rebels.
This is Ron Kelvin.
Yes, sir.
Myers, Brother Tony Johnson, Brother Josiah Jazz Watts, and Sister Jen Hilburn. And so we're going to continue this conversation. We're glad to have them on. We said everyone share. We'll see you all next week. And we're glad to have all our guests, our special guests, who were a little unruly, but we're glad to have them. But they gave out valuable information. We'll see you all next week. Because next week we're going to have the reparation projects. Randy Quarterman, Sarah Eisen, and Jazz will be joining. So again, see how all this rolled together? So again, we're going forward. Glad to have all y'all on the show. We see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brother Jamal.
Be blessed.
Thank you. Go Rebels.